Right, here we are in Versaille 1919. Because of the type of game it is, it's kind of hard to give a, hey, what's happened so far? Because the narrative just sort of passes you by. It's got a very Euro style of play. It doesn't have a map where things are progressing particularly. What it does have is these collections of cards that people are having. And earlier, after the first turn, Italy was in a powerful position in terms of the cards they've gotten. At this point, everybody's caught up, except maybe the Brits. The Brits are a little further behind. That's about all I can say. You know, I can talk about game state issues like, hey, look, the French have a lot of cubes, tied up in here. But those are so temporary. That's just a flexible, and mutable aspect of the game that just is continuously present, and it doesn't have a lot of meaning. You could argue the same with Napoleon, the Nations in Arms game that I've been playing, where, military units are maneuvering around and whatnot, and not much is changing, or a lot is changing, variably, and it's hard to predict what's going to happen from that. But at the very least, I have concrete ideas of like, oh, look, this army was beaten here and is on the run for that last year, and now something's changed. All I have in this is really, how many cards have you collected? How well are you doing? There you have it. It's a single score sheet when it comes down to it. It's Sunday. I don't know what time, probably around 11 a.m. I got up real stupid early because I slept a lot yesterday, whatever. Didn't go anywhere after the bar. This time hung out here, but still, I don't know, just not as bad. Anyway, here we are at Versailles 1919, and looks like it's a U.S. turn. I don't have sort of the same, I had a sort of flow going before, and I don't have that now. But let's take a look at what we're looking at here. Both of these would be available to the U.S. if I want to up my bid on it. This one I could pretty much win. I could actually guarantee that the French can't compete in it by putting too many chits in it. Let's check Middle East. Are there self-determinations? There are. The Italians have a couple of them. They seem in favor of that. I guess that makes sense. So what would it take? Well, this could go to 6, which means if I drop 4 in there, I win it. That's a big expense, but I could guarantee winning this. Now, I don't care about that. I don't care about that. So, obviously I would take hit the French twice. I think given how big a deal that is for the French, I'm going to do that. I'm going to throw 4 in. Do I want to put 2 in on the Italians, or do I want to compete in one of these others? These others aren't that big a deal. This is going to make the Italians are going to want Fiume. Like, they're not going to let me have it. Which maybe means I'd be better off putting it up here in Banat. And just let the Italians have the thing that they want. It seems unreasonable, right? But my cubes are wasted if it's on such an important issue. And military check. I'm all over the place, but I have 2 in the Middle East. It is possible. How big are they? It is possible I could just drop a military in here because the Italians left the cheap one open. And I think I'll do that. Guaranteeing myself some bidding room. Not necessarily on mine, maybe on one of his, or if someone else is thrown into the Mideast. This only has 1. This only has one, yeah. So, but mine are the most valuable. All right. I need to relight my pipe and get. It's hard to get back. You know, not being in the flow. That means that I'm having to think more again. What about our British friends? Nothing too exciting I can do. That one looks big. We'll go there. What's going on here? The Italians don't like what I don't like. I'm going to leave them in charge up there. My cheapest bid is here into Fiume. Again, it's a waste of cubes, but might as well waste as few as possible. And no military desires for me. To the French. Can't win this. To me, that means it's time to grab cubes. Italians can't afford to give up Fiume. What else? I'm in the lead in both of these. Do I care about Banat? Not terribly. Which one of these do I care about more? Because I can get away with just one cube. Oh, no, I need two. The Brits are up there. Oh, fuck them. Can't have that. Okay. And I got enough military in place. I might want to demobilize. No, it's the French who might want to demobilize. Just because they're cutting so close. Okay. Back to the U.S. The U.S. wins this. Do we want to do a military action before we win it? This is going to be a Middle East uprising. Possibility ugly, but I'm already military in there. Everything else I can choose at the time, sure. So there's the French. There's the U.S. The U.S. gets a factory. It's like industrial development or something like that. We now have two in Europe. That's not the lead there. France hits a mutiny location, but this isn't a problem because I only have two military right now. I gotta worry when I get down to the next one. I was kind of worried that this would happen, and then I'm like, wait, no, I've already got one committed to demobilize. Means this happens. It does not have an effect because we already checked the self-determinations over there. What does the U.S. want to put forward? Hey, I'm in the lead on this. Maybe I'll sleaze it. And here, select a player. They either demobilize a military or lose 2 happiness. Ending with you, each player either spends 4 influence or loses 2 happiness. Everybody except Italy has the influence currently. I don't view this as being worth a cube. Then we pick from here. Don't want this particularly. Making women suffer doesn't sound great. Dalmatians, big effect on Italians. Silesia enters some things. I'm not really interested in any of this shit. That's a tiny little squirrel. So we'll go with that, and we flip our card. Each player loses 1 happiness per deployed military. Why would Keynes do that? Okay. So, that would be 1 French, 2 Italian, 1 British, 1 U.S. That pulls this down. Now see, this choice is worth a couple of victory points for the English. but it's hard to keep that in mind. It really is, especially at this point in play where there's no guarantees that these cards are going to stay where they are. Having a lot of cards is worth something, because even if they get picked off, you still have more left afterwards. But the particulars of this, I would have been better off. Well, I'm giving up a 3 victory point swing in Britain's favor by taking that card. This is a 5 victory point card, so it's kind of like, you balance this all. I've expended stuff. The Brits have gotten a significant amount out of it, right? What about the French? French got a little bit. They would have rather it go the other way, obviously. For me, it's not a huge deal to me. Putting the 2 chits in there may not be that important. This one, more important. And I'm going to drop a cheapie in Silesia. What's nice about this is if the Italians take Fiume, which is important, they're not putting more cubes up in whatever the hell this is, Somalia, which somehow has become a major, major effort. Armies, the Balkans aren't that important to me. I don't know why I have an army there, to be honest. I don't really want to demobilize, do I? See, I can demobilize putting into exhausted to recover, or I cannot demobilize. I can take a military action to pull him out. I actually don't know if I can. I can move it around if there's some other place. But it's not really doing too much harm there, except for cards like that last one that, like this, but whatever. Alright. French have a shit ton of cubes. Nothing terribly exciting to do with them, but we'll grab the lead in these 2. Do we want to demobilize? We're still far and away the lead in Africa, so keeping that army there is worth it. There are plenty of 2-pointers. I'm not very far. The hell with that. I'm gonna probably break. Hard to keep my playing. Oh, okay. Italians. Fiume is too important to let go by. So we grab it. This is gonna hurt. But I couldn't regain anything. Okay. We will take this one. Oh, Fiume is potentially very important. But we'll take this. A U.S. unhappiness. A Balkan unrest. We're now at 2 in the Balkans. That puts us in the lead in the Balkans. And we don't have an army there. How do we feel about the Pacific? We're tied for the lead in the Pacific. I hate to do this. Boy, do I hate to do this. But before I do this action... See, that British unit in the Balkans is bad, because that's some of our bid. But fine. We'll go here, 2 cubes, and unhappiness, before we take this on, just to see what happens. Then we get triggered with this. Ending with me, each player either spends 4 influence or loses 2 happiness. Fine. Can't do it. French. Fine. And then the Italians can't do it. Their whole army is out, which means we're on the verge of problems, of a mutiny. Of course, the cost of a mutiny isn't that much higher at this point. What do we want? 2, 4, 6, 2, 4, 5. We're behind in both. We're going to move Silesia up to try to delay things. Select a player. They either demobilize or lose 2 happiness. We're in the running. Ending with you, each player either recovers 4 influence or increases happiness by 2. I'm willing to spend the cube to protect myself from this one. Don't want this. Not thrilled with anything, but we'll put this up. That's German membership to the League of Nations. Flip this over. Military maneuvers. Each player, ending with you, may move 1 deployed or exhausted military to available. Okay. The Middle East, we're tied. In the Pacific, we're tied. In the Balkans, we have the lead in. We're not going to do any of that. The U.S., they're tied in the Mideast. They don't want to withdraw. Balkans. I don't really care about the Balkans. This is a free withdrawal as far as I'm concerned. I like that. And then the French do care about Africa. They don't want to pull back. And that will move this up there. I'm going to pause for a bit, probably quite a bit. But felt like coming down and getting some play in before, it's like so easy to just keep not doing, right? For a significant amount of time. I played a little bit on Friday, but then yesterday I was completely off. Today I've been off, not playing for, many hours, whatever. Okay, so we're on the US. Not a lot of cubes left. I could take Banat. Be the second Balkans. I'm not committed to the Balkans. I would probably want to put troops there if I was, because that would put me tied for the lead there, so it could fall on me. But I look around. Look, France, Britain, they could each take my control of Banat, but I'm not that worried about it. Instead, I think I'm going to take my cubes, 6 of them, replenish, because the person I'm fighting for Banat with has none. And do I want to commit the military yet? Nah, I'm okay. So we'll push down. That puts it on the Brits. Not terribly interested in anything. Got 5 of my 6 cubes I could grab. Can't really promote to any value. I'll grab them. Again, that sort of cresting of waves or patterns or whatever, that's just, there's this sort of just rhythm to the game, right? Somebody pulls cubes, you're like, I need to too. Hits France. France is in an interesting position. Silesia is important to me, so pulling cubes doesn't seem like a great idea. On the other hand, this is more important, but I can keep that from going forward, and I can keep all these cubes here tied up in Somalia by bringing the German membership up. So yeah, let's pull this. That's another Europe. That's like my 4th Europe. I had better be in Europe. I am not in Europe. I had better be in Europe. And I care about Africa too. let's put the military there before we draw this, just in case it affects things. And we'll take a containment. Europe gets another unrest. This pin's there. Okay. That triggers this. Italy has to choose. We don't really care where we're at, but we want to look at these 10, 16, 20, 29, 10, 18, 27. Britain's at 19. France needs their 2 military in there. I don't feel like the US necessarily does, so I'm actually going to hit France. They either have to demobilize a military or lose 2 happiness. Can't really afford to keep losing happiness. Africa is a 5-pointer that'd be up there. Rhineland is a 6-pointer. I'm going to demobilize the African thing. Now, this isn't a mutiny. So I get the normal demobilization advantage of 2 points for that. Eating that up. That goes away. That goes away. France gets to put something. We'll put German membership up here. And I get to put one of these. Uprising Czech in Europe. Not what I want. Ending with you, each player either recovers 4 influence or increases happiness by 2. That sounds fine. I don't see any reason why I'd want to put a cube on that particularly. My pick, I'll put Montenegro up there. It's a Balkans, which doesn't really matter to me, but that's okay. It's all Italian interest. And then add a powder keg to a random region. Europe. Okay. That doesn't drop things down. The dropping things down is only because at the end of an uprising, all the unrest goes away. This was the French turn. So we go over to the Italians. And again, I think I'm not going to be playing as much. Like, I think I'm going to stop after this simply because I need the I don't know, my back hurts and all kind of stuff. Let's grab cubes. Military all over the fucking place. I am just about to fall into a mutiny, so I had better clear up my situation. Pacific, Mid-East. Mid-East, I have 2. One other person has 2. The other one I have is the Balkans. I have 2. One other person has 2. I don't really care about these, but that's a lot of points. I think the Mideast is actually my less valuable place. Although self-determination there, empire is worth something to me. I don't know. Hey, I have Transylvania, which is not that important to me. Let's take it out of the Balkans. We'll demobilize. That gets us 2 more happiness. Moves the card. And it's break time. Okay, so we're at the US, and I have the interesting option of cashing but not in. I don't care about German membership. I don't care about this. I do care about a couple of these. However, this one, the Italians are in the lead-in, and I'm kind of on the same side as the Italians. This one's not so good. So I think I can afford to cash in, but not. More or less giving the Italians their cube back. grabbing this. Balkans and EU. I have 2 EU. I only have 1 Balkans. I've got a bit of a problem. Well, this is going to be my second Balkans. Which is no matter what, I cause problems. I don't want to give it to Yugoslavia. I think I'll give it to Romania. Although EU is where I have stuff. But again, I will be as rich in Balkans as anyone else. I'm not as rich in EU as other people. Oh no, that's French up there. I get confused. Blue feels US-ish to me for various reasons. Trigger this. Ending with you, each player either recovers 4 influences from exhausted or increases happiness by 2. Well, not much choice there. Happiness is harder to get than influence. I can grab 6 influence very quickly, so the French will take happiness. Italy, of course. And what about the US? Do I want to pull a bunch of cubes back? I'm in pretty good shape cube-wise. I also will increase my happiness. And this feels more Keynesian than... Like, the random event part, I feel, is truly just random. It just happens to be linked to a thing. And this comes down here. Oh. Oh, I screwed up. Shit. I put this out, the Brits can take it. I thought the Italians had the lead on it. Oopsie. Uh-oh. Yeah, the French will definitely trigger this. The Brits will make us unhappy. I guess I put Montenegro up because I fucked up. Wouldn't have done this, but I don't want to try to unwind it here. An unrest to the Balkans. An uprising in Europe. Rather do this. Put Dalmatia up here. Give the Italians more to do. Flip this. Move all deployed military to exhausted. This makes everything more vulnerable in the next turn. Now, I still have the opportunity to deploy a military. What do I care about? I have 2 in the Middle East, 1 in the Pacific, and 2 in the Balkans. I'm going to put this in the Balkans on the 0 side of things. Because I didn't do a military action before this whole sequence. I can do one after. Boy, I feel exhausted now for having fucked up. I'd love to trigger something so that we could get our leading thing in there, but we'll put 1 in here. And 1 in here. We might get lucky. Somebody might trigger Montenegro just to keep it out of Italy's hands. But on the other hand, they might want to dump stuff into Italy. I don't know. We do not need military. In fact, we're so far behind, I think we're going to demobilize our second force unless we have a military there. Somebody has one. This guy gets points for each military that's out there, including their own. Now, this is, or including other people's. This is the thing. They've got 2 demobilized already, which is not really helpful to their cause. France. France is not thrilled with what's going on in particular, but we need cubes more than we need to put pieces where we can't defend. To the Italians now. Italians are not happy about anything that's going on. Probably want this. It'll replenish some of our cubes. We could just trigger one of these off. For example, German membership, we could fire off and be able to clear something, but we don't particularly want to do that. We don't mind the Brits being there. So we'll put here in Montenegro, which we do want, and we'll put up here because we really want that. Military. Our military is all eaten up, and that's not cool for us, to be honest. Okay, the U.S. The U.S. has like no commitment anywhere. Not a lot of caring about these. I think I'm gonna grab stuff again, just to make sure that I have a full pool available. I'm really not all that interested. These, it's going to be really expensive to grab any of them. I may want to, but let's give it a little bit of time. The Brits have a lot of cubes engaged. I think we'll fire off the German membership. We don't really care about Montenegro at all. We want a British fleet involved. Reparations. Not thrilled about that, but okay, whatever. And the EU shoots all the way up to the nasty level. Uprising check in Europe, +1 to the die roll. That is going to automatically trigger against the French, and they have to take their biggest, which is the Rhine. I have military that I could deploy. It's not worth a very big bid, but nobody's is. I hate this because this is just going to keep coming up. Europe's going to be high on the unrest. One other person cares about this. It's Italy. I'm going to put 3 cubes and ensure Italy can't outbid me. So they skip. Other people, let the French have this back, I guess. Okay. We have choices. We get points for doing this, so we will take the French annexation of the Rhine. This is the situation before. This is the situation after. We could have deployed troops. This is already gone. We could have deployed troops. No. No, this is not that. Oh. So that's an unhappiness for Italy as well. This goes into place. Sorry, this goes. I am not thinking clearly at all, apparently. The U.S. gets to make its picks. Do I want to play in either of these? I don't know. Italy's in the lead here. I'm not going to deal with that. France is in the lead here. we do not like this one. We're okay bringing this up, I think. Beginning with you, each player either takes a demobilize action or reduces happiness by 2. You know what's weird about that? You could have your entire military demobilized and still be hit with this. That feels wrong somehow, but that's how it's actually worded. Or add an unrest to the Balkans. I'm tied for the lead in the Balkans. I don't particularly want to do that. So we'll boost this and demobilize or reduce happiness by 2. We're going to let the world burn, I guess. Britain, their last military. They're okay demobilizing. See, this is where, let me count the cards and tell you in a moment. There are 21 cards, which means 10, and then the race to the finish, and then 10 more. If we were playing the basic game, the shortest version of the game, right? We would be in the end game of this game. But as it is, people are putting their military up there. Britain is out of military now. France is being given the option, do you want to be out of military? Look, we're at the bottom. We're not going to get a lot of points off this. Fuck it. We'll take the hit. And then Italy can afford to demobilize one, I guess. I'm not thrilled about it. Can they afford to kill 2? Yeah, they can afford to kill 2 happiness as well. Fine. Fine. Yeah, I just cheated. So, Britain and the US are down 1. And these 2 are up 2. This shouldn't have triggered yet. I'm being really, really unfamiliar with the play of the game right now. All right, we got stuck with 2 that we don't particularly want to play. Syria, which is worth a shitload, or another Pacific. We're going to put the Vietnam Pacific up there. We're not thrilled about this, but it's the best I can get. And then this, which is the thing we should have flipped up. Each player loses a happiness per deployed military. That's a U.S. happiness. And I'm confused, like, is this what I meant to do? Like, did I screw something up? Maybe, because I'm really clunky and now there are, like, little kids' voices out there somewhere. Okay, that's, I think, the dog that looks like a sheep. I can't see it. Really, really a weird dog if it's a dog. All right, let's do the Brits, and I'm really afraid that I'm bumbling around. Like, was this the British action, not the U.S.? Because I feel like I did a U.S. action that triggered a revolt, and I think this was, I don't know. I mean, the Brits would not have put this in play. That's the problem. But I feel like I triggered this or something. I don't fucking know. God damn it. I hate when I get lost like this, and it's because I'm not moving this thing enough. Like, you're not supposed to, but yeah. Yeah, I think the Brits went. And let's do this instead, if that's the case. So I really do think the Brits just went. All right, on to the French. And yeah, I'm getting muddled and confused and losing track. And this is why I keep taking breaks, because I know that my brain's not working like as focused as it was last time when I was playing this. Okay. Now, see, no, I don't think so. I don't think so. Fuck it. I don't think so, because I think the Rhineland triggering was what just happened. I don't know. I mean, and moving these things one-handed, sure, that only matters for me with my camera in hand or to other one-handed people, is not easy with all these cubes on them. Okay, fine, the Brits. What are the Brits going to fucking do? Well, I'm not in the lead here. I'm not in the lead here. I'll put here. And what else do I care about? France and Italy are my competition. 14, actually everybody is. What the fuck? But I don't have any great choices. I look around the world. None of these are worth expending heavily on. I'm just putting a cube down. Let's put 2 in each of these. The Italians can't cover both of them, so they're going to have to give me 1. All right, that puts it on the French, I guess. Oh, France has the lead over there. Definitely want Vietnam. We'll put this in Dalmatia just because. Do we need to put an army in play? Probably. In Europe. And that puts it on the Italians. Are they in the lead? They better not be. 4, 7, 8. Okay. The Italians can't take both of these. They care more about Montenegro. But I actually can't play. The only option I have no options that I can play for cubes. Which is shitty. If I have no options for cubes, I also don't have a hell of a lot of anything here. Now, how big a deal is this thing? Somalia. This would get me all my cubes back. So what do I talk to Britain about? Look, this is what we don't want. Britain doesn't want that. Honestly, what I want is this. This is what they'll settle for. Britain is willing to do that. So we're going to trigger Somalia. The Italians, because it's their turn, get all their cubes back. The Brits expend all theirs, but that's better than them being tied up. And they choose a UK mandate for Somalia, which makes Italy a little less happy. Makes America a little less happy. And makes Africa angrier. Yeah. And each player takes a demobilizer, reduces happiness by 2. I'll do it. US. We'll do it. Britain. This is Britain's last army, but they're fighting for, you know, top rank in the happiness, honestly, which is worth a lot of victory points. We don't have much. We'll take it. We no longer have an army available to play with. And finally, France, who cannot afford to do this, so they'll fall back. And there goes Lenin. Now we pull things forward. Whose turn is it? It's Italy's turn. Don't want to put this up, I'll tell you that much. We'll put Vietnam up. And here, unsettle a league issue. I have one. Therefore, this doesn't go to the guy with the most league issues. The player gets to choose, which means that might be worth a cube. This is not worth a cube, but let's put this in play. We get to draw. We'll take Syria, because we don't give a shit. And we'll draw this. Each player ending with you may move one deployed or exhausted military to available. Well, yeah, we'll do that. U.S. doesn't want to, I think. I don't know. Balkans? I mean, yes, we're committed there as much as we are in some other places. Fine, whatever. Britain has none. France, once it's in Europe, and that's everything, and we're back here, and I hope I didn't fuck up, but I'm pretty sure I did. Screwing up all over the place. It's almost raid time. Down here to play a little bit more, like another cycle around or whatever. It seems to be what I can do. Still screw things up, but yeah, the first video I put up, fine, whatever. Second one included the first one, because apparently I failed to delete stuff off my camera or whatever, and now I'm putting up a replacement second that's shorter, but I don't know what I'm gonna do, because once you put a video on BGG, it's like you can't change the video, I think. I'm not sure. Might be able to. Anyway, I don't know. I don't know what I'm doing. All right, let's take a look at the U.S. In pretty good shape in terms of total number of issues. I've gotten into that sort of realm where I might be the leader at this point. However, not a lot of great choices out here. Don't want to promote anything. Vietnam's looking interesting now. And Syria is of interest to me. Okay. Now move this. Which again, I may have fucked up. And that will, you know, if I gave like Britain a double turn or something but fucked around with what I was choosing, that's gonna seriously impact, you know, getting an extra turn is a big deal in this. It's not like, you know, some games where a double turn might not matter too much or whatever. Because you can always recycle your resources is the thing. So, I got the win in Montenegro, if I want to take it. It's almost always worth taking a win. Let's just follow that rule of thumb then. Italy is doing well. Want to hurt them? But more interested in if there's anything we want to win. Not particularly. So let's take containment. Hurt the Italians as much as possible. Why not? Well, one reason why not is that the Italians might be able to challenge the U.S. on happiness, but that's playing at too deep a level for me. They can unsettle a league issue. Well, we don't want to do our own. The question is, there are a couple over here, and that's it. So let's take a look at what we can do to the Brits. We have German membership. And we have one that could cause more unhappiness to the Italians. I think I'm going to pull the big 5-point German membership out. Because there's nothing I really gain by bringing this one into play. Now, the Brits own this. But now it's up for sale, essentially. Britain probably can't keep it. That'll help. If I can't keep it, what do I do? Do I want to commit? No harm in committing. It's worth the 3 bid. Let's make somebody pay 4 if they want to have it. Okay. If Britain commits, they go down here. The U.S. kind of doesn't care. I'm sorry, the French kind of don't care, but they can pull 4 cubes, grab it, and then do a recoup afterwards. Sounds worth it. That puts it to Italy at 5 cubes. And we can take the English ones off. They're not able to overbid. Does Italy particularly want this? Look, the French don't want the same thing the Italians don't want. We could probably buy this for 5 cubes. It's not a bad issue. Do we care about anything on it? Factories, we care about containment. Do we care about what's out in the world as well? Because that's another issue. We have a couple of things out there that we'd like to play in that mean cubes for us. And this one doesn't mean much. We'll pass. U.S. U.S. could buy this for 5 because Italy's already passed. It looks like a worthwhile buy at 5. It really does. No, these all go back. They don't get halved or anything like that. That means the U.S. gets this. Might as well make everybody unhappy, I think. Unless I really care about either of those issues, and I do not. So, industrialization. I mean, a British boat gives us something, an American boat gives us something. But this helps with Europe, and we've got a couple of bids on Europe. The French have more. And it doesn't help much. So 2 of these go down. British happiness goes down. French happiness goes down 2. Italian happiness goes down. English are out of armies, so they're not going to be able to get a military action anymore. I could give the French the Dalmatians, if I so desire. Or I could give them this, which I really don't want to do, because that, although the French align with me, that's worth a lot of points. And it's just I'd rather force the winner to play for that. And it's holding a bunch of cubes, which is a kind of neat thing. I could throw Syria out there. That might open up bloodshed in terms of people draining cubes. I could use the respite. Even though it's a big card, doesn't seem bad. Exhaust 2 influence and remove 2 unrest from the Pacific. Don't care about that. Add 1 unrest to the Balkans. Don't really care about that. Put this up. Don't want this. It's bad for me. Prussia in play. This is a card that was in the replacement cards, but there was nothing to replace, if I recall correctly. Not positive. I think it was. Anyway, boom, boom, boom. And then we draw an event. Uprising check at +1. Our uprising is Africa now. +1 puts it to, it is automatic unless somebody does something. And nobody has anything they can do. So Africa is triggered. The only place that has Africans are, well, we got one. But it looks like 2 of them for the French. That means German East Africa gets knocked loose. The French have the bid on this. It's one of the problems in this game is you're faced with, you got to throw stuff in play if you want to. This doesn't cost me anything. I want it. Fine. Italy, a big 5-point card. Is that worth just throwing those points in on? Or are there things that I'm much, much more worried about? I'm worried about this, but not much else. I think this is, the question is, why didn't I play for the German membership instead? Well, because I think the U.S. is going to overbid me, so let's make them pay more. The French go away. The U.S. drops 6 bid on it. And nobody's got any army. Well, actually, the Italians had an army they could have thrown in play, which would guarantee it to them. They don't want to, though. The U.S. places in. Britain, France are out. Now I don't want to put the army. I could have guaranteed it before. Do I want this issue more than the cubes? Not really. Even though U.S. is in the lead here, let's make them throw a bunch of cubes in to get an Africa card. And first thing we do is we look at Africa, and this goes up, this goes down. What does the U.S. want? It's a weird situation because the U.S. gets points for each empire. The colonial interests still in play. Who just did this card? Yeah, this was the random card. We're still on the Brits. Yeah, this is how I got confused before because there were like 2 revolt type situations, maybe. We're going to make German East Africa independent. We'll put this up here. That does not make me unhappy, but it makes France and Britain unhappy. Is that great? I don't know. It's a really hard thing because look, these are victory points I could get, but I still feel like I'm too early in the game to be just padding victory points. And me getting that 5-point card, that's the big deal. That card gets knocked loose from me, and whatever I get as a point for one of these is gone anyway, right? So it's not really worth devoting to those. What about the French? French don't have a lot of points. They have things they really, really care about, though. So Vietnam and Prussia, I'm not happy about this, but I don't want to give Vietnam up with its 2 happiness. I'm getting close to being really unhappy and losing my last military. I'm not thrilled, but by putting these out there, I'm getting a chance that something falls into me. France is beginning to look like they're not winning anymore. In fact, the U.S. looks like they're winning at this point. What about Italy? Don't want to drag out of there unless there's some strong reason. I'm interested in this. And this. That's a lot of points for whatever that is. Rebuilding. Yeah. And that'll be a pass for us. And I think it's time to go play Raid. I don't know. I don't want to do anything. I don't want to play this. I don't want to play Raid. I don't know. My cart and my body taking damage, neither of which left me in particularly good cheer. So, like, yeah, I'm going to have to do something and figure something out. It's like when the stairs broke or whatever, you know? Yeah, I don't know. We are Monday morning, pretty early. But I mean, all of life just tastes like dust right now. Don't really want to play. Don't really want to do anything else. Sleep is okay, but my dreams aren't great right now. I'm having them. They're troubled. Everything. And, you know, it would be perfect for me, like, to go outside, go for walks, do stuff. Absolutely no interest. Anyway. Where are we? We're with the U.S. U.S. has Syria if they want it. Well, that's nice. How'd I get that? If I don't take it, you know, look, lots of cubes I can recover and whatnot. But if I don't take Syria, I feel like I'm kind of fucking myself over. On the other hand, it's going to be the most expensive of my Middle Eastern areas. I'll be at 3 Middle East, which puts me in the lead for that. The most dangerous of all the regions. Now, I can shift this army down there. It's the only one I have to help protect it. The other option is the Balkans, which is not as valuable to me. Ooh, I've got this too. I'm starting 2 chains. Great. But I think I'm going to trigger this. I'm definitely in the lead at this point. What do I care about? The English one would give me a point. However, although I don't care about plebiscites, this doesn't generate more unrest in the Middle East. So, as our first action, let's do a military action and shift down. I think I'm allowed to do that. Let me make sure. Military units may be placed on the region track using the deploy military action. Exhausted and demobilized may not be deployed, but an already deployed unit can be moved to another space in the region or another region track with all the appropriate costs. I don't think it's worth fighting it, you know, at the more, I don't know what, enhanced version. Found the right word that time. Okay, so yeah, we took this, and I think we'll make France miserable and get a plebiscite or a self-rule. Again, the game's still not far enough along, and it kind of never gets that way in my mind, to be willing to start collecting victory points just for their own. Cards? Yeah. Cards are hard to take away, but an individual card with a victory point thing, you know, I'd be talking about getting a victory point. But I am giving someone else some, right? I'm giving the Italians a victory point, presumably by that. But that may actually help me in some way, right? I don't know why, but they may have choices that affect that. And I have the option to add an unrest in the Balkans. I'm not really in favor of disrupting the world to any degree. I'm pretty happy with what we got. Don't care about this. Care about this. And would rather leave all those cubes up there. This one we care about. Maybe it'll matter. Over here, 2 influence, remove 2 unrest from the Pacific, reduce Middle East unrest by 3. I'll just put this in there. It's not going to make a damn bit of difference. I'm not going to well, I can't cube it. We'll take this because it's free. Remember, you can dig deeper, but it costs influence, and obviously I can't do that right now. But I find myself almost never doing that. Like, unless there's something I absolutely want. And the thing is, cards that you have desirable effects on usually have undesirable effects for you as well. And then our random. Each player loses a happiness per deployed military. Not cool. France is okay. They've only got 1 military in the game. And the US both lose happiness. Happiness levels stayed a lot higher in the first game I played. These are tanking. And I think the reason is that, I mean, I've got more demobilized forces. I think the real reason is that the deck is just bigger. And those extra couple of points you get early on, they're not enough. And France is in a lot of trouble. What can they do? They can demobilize their last army. They kind of need it to stay alive, and that's only 1 military or 1 happiness level. All right, let me relight my pipe. Finding myself spending a lot of effort on each player turn at this point where I wasn't before, and I don't know why. Like before I was just like bang, bang, bang. Now I feel like each decision is really a struggle. And again, last time I played, I feel like that struggle wasn't as much there. I don't think that has anything to do with a change in circumstances in the game, but rather in my mind state. Some of it is, when there's lots of cubes, it's very easy to make your decisions. For example, the Brits here. Look, I got 3 cubes. I have a legal move. I could play 2 in Prussia and 1 here. I'm not going to do it. I'm going to take my my payoff. Don't have any military, so I don't have to worry about that. French. Now the French have the tricky situation. They dominate this. Irk? I think I want to fire it off, because I really don't want that. But I have no fucking cubes, which hurts. I get a French Empire. The US is less happy. This is the Vietnam one, yeah. The Pacific goes into unrest. Not going to take a military action, I think. I don't know. No, Europe's too important to me. But, yeah, I'm just in the running with the Pacific at this point. Reduce Middle East by 3. It's not going anywhere. What do I pick to put up? I'll put the one I'm leading in case somebody doesn't stop me. I'm not winning. So maybe I get away. Exhaust 2 influence and remove 2 unrest from the Pacific. Uprising check in the Mideast. Well, the Mideast isn't my problem. It's someone else's problem. So we don't roll, but I move this. And this, see, this is how usually these events fire off the unrest, but it gets really confusing to me when there's 2 of them there. I don't want to make women suffer. I don't want this because that requires my attention, so we'll put Macedonia into play. It's kind of interesting. You don't want your big issues, the ones that you really care about, to actually come to the table usually. Maybe you do if you have a huge advantage in cubes or something like that. And then uprising in the region of the issue being settled, that was the Pacific. Let's look for the specifics. 1 here. 1 here. And 1 here. Now, where does the uprising happen? Right? Well, kind of doesn't matter at this point because you determine if there's an uprising before you check to see who's affected. Nobody has any modifiers for this. It's on a 4 or more. Okay, we're going to have one. And now, whoever has the most, well, they have one each. There's no military control. So it's going to just be a die roll. Now, I said there were 3. One, let's just double check. 2, 3. And I'm just going to roll a single die to distribute that. 2, it'll be Vietnam goes up. Now, this is what they just gained. That kind of sucks. And I got butt kiss to hold on to it. So who's going to bid on it? Well, France has first bid. You know, I want to keep it if I can. And England. France is out. Italy will let it go. We do not want the US to be happy. Or do we? I don't know. Like, first of all, two more hits on France's. We could basically start knocking France out of the war if we can get them down to that unhappy, because you can never recover from that. This doesn't really help anyone, but it does help the US point-wise. We don't necessarily want the Pacific, let's resolve it, to go up in value, because we're going to be tied with the Pacific. We're actually going to hit the French happiness with this. Now, if we could hit the US hard enough to knock them down into hell, great. But that's not going to happen. This was kind of a dicky move to the French, though. Because they're not winning, right? Like, hurt the US. But in terms of actual victory points, this marker helps the US. Actually, it helps both. But it helps the US in relation to Britain. They're worrying about those points at this point. But we're still quite a ways from the end of the game card coming up. Italy. Italy has Dalmatia available, which we really do want. That is the Balkans, which we have an unfortunately large setup in. One which we're going to commit our military to. We're going to commit this. Dalmatia. We want the Italian Empire. A happiness. Yay. Otherwise, we might have wanted to demobilize. And 2 Balkans unrest, which we could definitely do without. The order of the cards is really important. If something's out, it's generally going to become more targeted for unrests. Just as a matter of people fiddling with the cards. The randomness can come up and whatnot. Shit can just happen. But the Balkans was a real hot spot in the last game I played. This game, it's the Middle East that has taken the ride. And now there's an uprising check in the Middle East as played by the Italians, with the U.S. having the advantage there. 3 or more. It goes. That's going to unleash a Middle Eastern thing. I think that has to be U.S. I think that has to be Syria. U.S. had it. I could commit my army. Syria is worth a lot of points. Are there other things that fuck around with the Middle East? See, the problem is the Middle East is gonna, it's gonna be up here no matter what. So it's just gonna keep rolling. And I'm torn by the thought that, like, it's worth even fighting for now, is basically the problem. Because I will constantly be the target. I think it's worth a cube, maybe not anything else. The Brits. Now the Brits will not be in the lead in the Middle East. It's worth 2 cubes for them. That shuts France out. Italy would be in the lead with the Middle East. They don't care about this card. Brits are going to get it. The Brits want the British mandate because that's worth a victory point to us. France takes another unhappiness. Uh-oh. And we could have actually sunk France if we wanted to. And the Mideast is going to move up to that. Italy gets its picks. Really would like to get all these cubes back. We're short on cubes. One way or another. And then here, exhaust 2 influence, remove 2 unrest from the Pacific, and add 2 unrest to Europe. Not that worried about France either. Italy cares about this, not a whole hell of a lot. But I think I'll draw. Fuck. Alright, we definitely don't want Slovenia and Croatia. That could be bad. Which means we give Ethiopia up here. We're not thrilled about that either. And then our random draw is an uprising check. Well, that's going to be the Mideast. It's on a 2 or more. It happens again. What do we have? Mideast, huh? 2 for the US. 2 for Britain, and 2 for Italy. U.S. has military, can't be them. So Britain and, or do I get to choose? I get to choose who's affected. Even better. 19, 26, 32, 35. And yeah, I'm not counting the other stuff. It's just too hard. 15, 22, 28. Sounds like the Brits are the nastier. There goes Syria again. Brits get to pay for this. Look, they're not in too much danger with this. I'm going to put 2 more cubes in Syria. That skips the French. The Italians, again, could buy this, but that puts them in the lead for the Middle East. They don't want it. So there goes the UK, once again, taking the same thing. France is forever unhappy. And the Mideast can't move in either direction because of that US marker there. That is around. I feel fatigued by doing this much. You know, what around used to just be like people throwing cubes around for a while, and then eventually there would be one with lots happening. But now there's so much happening, and some of it is game, because the unrest checks are happening, are more effective and more pronounced. Like the Mideast is just a complete mess at this point. Almost certainly in a recovery period. You can see everyone except Italy has almost no cubes. And other than this, it's really not, well, this could get called up as a cheapie to France's advantage, although instead of 0 victory points, they're at -5 now there. That's a big hit. And never in the competition for getting any game end happiness. Pull those. I think the military, we won in the Mideast still. It's hard to tell. Brits, I could bank stuff there, but I'm not going to be able to compete with whatever I bank, so might as well grab. The French. Now the French have something vaguely important here, something here that I can't compete in. It would take both my cubes to compete in it. So I've lost that already. If I take this, that's pretty cool. I'm already the major investor in Europe, as it were. So I think I will do this. I have to look. I don't care about either of these. U.S. unhappiness, they're not the ones who dunked us, I think. And I don't want EU unrest. So I'm going to do the Danzig corridor, which gets me just 1 containment. We worry about this. Option, add an unrest to Europe? No thanks. Up here. I care about the Anschluss. I don't care about Ethiopia. And Ethiopia looks like a lot of people are willing to deal in it. Now the question is, do I want to put an Africa card out? It'll help protect my Africa card. I think so. Balkans would also be an option, but that doesn't really drive anyone. That becomes sort of a cheapie. Exhaust 2 influence, remove 2 unrest from Pacific. Select a player. They either decrease unhappiness or add 2 to the Pacific. I'm not that heavy in Pacific. Am I there at all? No. Perfect. We look here. Slovenia and Croatia are going up because I don't give a shit about them. Add an unrest to a random region. Okay. And that moves the card. And things are a lot easier now that like all the military is demobilized. That takes one of the decision paths away. Well, the Italians may have things they want to do, but rebuilding is too important, and this is not subject to regional unrest. There are cards which can fuck with it, but I might not be the heaviest target, although this big 7 points might help. I don't want unrest, because unrest is bad. I don't particularly want this, but the US is in the lead. And this hurts Britain, it helps France. France is probably in trouble. I may go for high levels of rebuilding. I trigger this, I select a player. They decrease happiness by 2 or add 2 unrest to the Pacific. US is in the Pacific. I'm going to hit them with the option, and, you know, they don't care that much. Billy Hughes, Prime Minister of Australia. I mean, why? Obviously, he's going to have effects on this. The Italians get to choose. There are other people with cubes out there. I don't want to put things that are big for me out there particularly, or do I? Britain has a lot of cubes. France has cubes. Anschluss might be worth putting out there. Only France would be interested in not allowing it. Or, I'm sorry, in allowing it. To reduce tension, maybe. And France doesn't have a lot of cubes. So let's put that out. I don't normally put things out. And then one of these. Exhaust 2 influence and remove 2 unrest from Pacific. Don't care. Unsettle a league or reparations issue. That might be worth a cube. Just to make sure that someone I'm more worried. I'm getting up there in victory points too. It's like I'm targeting the US. I think it's worth a cube for that. What about this? Well, disarmament, I could put this up there. There's a lot of people who really don't want this. And so I'm probably protected by other people not wanting it more, with the one exception that if the US draws it, they will go for limited disarmament. These reparations markers don't help me. They hurt Britain, they help France. It's not a terrible card. This one's not bad, but I don't want to spend a cube for a card. But I honestly just don't think this is that bad a card for me. I think I've got a lot of people who are as interested as I am. Do I want the Balkans still? Yeah, I have a lot of Balkans. Pause for us. Drink of tea. Everybody's in an interesting position. This is a turn where things could go in, or a sequence of turns, where things could go in a number of different ways. Everybody except, well, US and Britain have a fair number of cubes available. France has a couple. Italy has a decent amount. But there's also a fair amount in here. So the question is, am I terribly interested in, do I want to have a maximal like set of cubes, which could give me an advantage for bidding out other things? I think given what I'm interested that's out there, I'm actually going to grab all these cubes and be thrilled with it. And that puts it to the Brits, who might be more interested in what's going on right now. We are the most affected by disarmament, plus that's a 7-point issue. You know, if you can get a big point issue, that can put you back in the running pretty quickly. Nobody's got any troops. Poor France. Oh! This was demobilized, and I'm not allowed out. Whoops, whoops, whoops. Okay. The English aren't pissing me off here. They're working with me there. I'm going to grab cubes. Although I have probably lost the game because of my happiness situation. And Italy. Italy is interested in stuff that's going on. An Italian mandate in Ethiopia is what I want. I probably can't beat the Brits on this. They will almost certainly not pick this, which means I'm going to be unhappy. They're going to probably go for a UK mandate. Not thrilled with that. Over here, let's put our cubes in the most important places we can. Not thrilled with the fact that I don't have many. US. And when you're at the, hey, just play cubes, especially when the military's already out of the game, wow, that really, like, sort of, I don't know, it determines facets of the game. So what are the Brits going to do? The Brits are going to pick this. That's not good. Do I care that much? Sure. I outgun them. I'm willing to bid high on it. What else? We'll let other people play in their things. We'll just go into Macedonia and, you know, maybe be able to sleaze it for cheap. Gotta rely. Giving up Ethiopia would suck, but I'm willing to let it go. Maybe Italy will be more. I don't really want Italy in it either. What I'm going to do is I'm going to grab my cubes so that I can potentially win other fights that I want to. De France. Nobody minds a no on the Anschluss. I mean, the U.S. could gain a lot of harm on people. The only reason the French might want it is to take unrest away. We forgot something. This was back on the U.S. turn. Uprising at a -1. That would have been on the Mideast. Got to backtrack. -1 means it was a 3 or higher. Yay, it didn't happen. Cool. That means that I can jump back to where I belong. What about the French? Well, the French are in agreement with the Brits here. Honestly, we don't care. Happiness doesn't matter anymore. The French have decided upon a path of misery at this point. Which means what? Well, we're not going to give many points for military. I don't know. We maybe can dunk other people down, but we kind of don't really give a shit, is one of the things. We'll go for points. And we'll cover the U.S. Bid on Macedonia. Italy. I can do the Anschluss. Sounds good to me. Even though I got a lot of cubes out there, but I want to do things. We say no. Because that gets us a happiness. That gets us 2 more EU unrest. Can we do it this way? And we trigger this. Unsettle a legal reparations issue. Whoop, not there. Okay. Well, we don't want ours. We have this one here, which is worth 6. We're not going to be able to win whatever we pull for. And we want to pull from the U.S. They are our competition as far as we can see. How good is indemnities? We're going to pull the indemnities issue out. We don't care about industry. Cool. And the U.S. had it. They can't win it. Like, they don't have as many pieces as the Brits do. But how much are they willing to pay to own it again? And or force the Brits to pay for it? Because remember, whatever you bid on this point doesn't actually cost you. And we're going to be able to take Ethiopia next turn. Kind of no matter what. I mean, what's really hard to determine is what kind of cube expenditure. So if I put 1 cube in, the Brits will put 2 or more, you know. But if I put a pile of cubes in, the Brits might decide, you know what? I need to be able to bid on other things. So I might be able to scare them off with an early high bid, where if we're just each putting 2 cubes in, maybe we don't. I don't know, because again, it's not actually spent. This is only worth 6 to me. It's worth more to the Brits, but kind of in the wrong direction. No indemnities helps their global trade more than it hurts their desire for there not to be heavy reparations. So it's kind of a confusing card for the Brits. I don't know. Let me think. I'll put a bid in for now, but yeah, it's really between Britain and the U.S. on this. France doesn't care about their happiness anymore. They do care about both of these, but they get one either way. And the 6 points would be great and all, but we don't have the cubes to really contest. We could throw in, but it'll just get dissolved because I think it's going to go for a lot. Some friends wandering about. The thing that, another little one. The thing that pisses me off about days like this, it's a beautiful day. I don't mind the rainy winter when I can't do a damn thing. Kind of feeling like, okay, I'm just wasting my whole day. But when it's a pretty day like this, it feels so horrible to waste the whole day and do nothing. Except maybe just watch some fawns. But, oh, they're panting. It's not that hot. But yeah, and some of it's like this fear of missing out type of thing, or something. Just like this feeling that I should be out doing stuff. I don't know. But anyhow, and maybe I'll get out and do some yard work or go for a walk or something. I get up so damn early these last couple days. I don't know what's going on. The Brits want this. They're going to bid. The French want it. They're going to bid. The Italians are out. The U.S. definitely is willing to go to 4. Let's knock the French out. Knock the French out because... Okay, are the Brits willing to pay 7 for it? 5 more. Not going to get this. Don't care much about this. There we go. Is the U.S. willing to keep boosting this? Well, one thing to do is look and see if there's anything else that fucks with these. Sure. U.S. pulls out. This is a pain because this is not a regional, so there's less chance of things getting blown apart. But the Brits take this. Now, which way do they want to take it? It's a 6-point card, but they have the choice. Well, I think they're going to go for no indemnities, making themselves unhappy. France doubly unhappy. But I think they actually want it that way instead of what existed before. And yeah, I can put it in at the other side. They're both hard to do. All right. Italy gets to pick. Exhaust 2 influence and remove 2 unrest from the Pacific. Not terribly. Or add a powder keg to the Pacific. I have 1 Pacific. That's an Africa, not a Pacific. I'll just put this in, but not charge it. I actually have to choose this first. We'll put Slovenia and Croatia in, although there's a good chance somebody will fuck with that, like the U.S. We get to pick one. Women's suffrage and an uprising Czech. Uprising Czech, of course, is in the Middle East. It will always be in the Middle East. Oh, wait, no, Europe's just as high. Let's check Europe first. Europe's on a 2 or more. No. Middle East is on a 2 or more. No modifiers. Nobody's that committed to their military. No. Wow. Well, that was weird. Okay. And we're going to break for a while. My battery's almost down, and I don't know. Noon now. Plenty of time if I wanted to go out and do something. I did go out and get some yard work done that I've been neglecting. I've been neglecting all of it, but there's some that I've been neglecting longer than others. Not the worst of it. Anyway. Let's look at the U.S. I have the opportunity to grab Ethiopia if I want. I have a decent number of cubes. I think grabbing a card is almost always worth doing. And what do I want to do? Making Italy happy. But Italy is my competition. But making them happy would get me one of these points. Obviously, I don't want to make myself unhappy, but so I could make Britain really unhappy and Italy happy, or I can make it independent, and I think that's the better move, although the deck is starting to get kind of small. I don't know, let me count. 2 more cards before I hit the bad card, which means, basically solving this issue will put the, not bad card, but the game end card. I'll put the game end card on the top of the deck. Now that doesn't mean the game ends. There's a lot of maneuvering that happens there. So there's sort of a, hey, this wouldn't be that bad, but Italy and the US are right next to each other. So I'm going to actually do the independence. Get this off. Grab Ethiopia. Got room for one of those, probably not both. Trigger this. Exhaust 2 influence and remove 2 unrest from the Pacific. I am not that heavy in the Pacific, so I'm going to pass on this. The counters are too important to me. And then we bring things up. Bringing stuff for France up doesn't really hurt me. This forces France and England to fight each other as far as I'm concerned. Exhaust and influence, gain 2 happiness, and add 2 unrest in the Middle East. I have all 4. Okay. I guess. Happiness is really important. This might be worth a cube. Add a powder keg to the Pacific, not interesting to me. I think I'm actually going to take this cube. Even though it costs me more influence to get some happiness, I think it's worth it. Not positive. Then I draw. Must be from here. I do not want this one out. Mesopotamia. Each player loses 1 happiness per deployed military. Okay. It's close to mutiny, I thought. And that swings down. Time to relight my pipe. Having trouble playing without the pipe actually lit right now for whatever reason. Does not mind the French taking this. Whatever. You know. I'm willing to let the Italians get that. Honestly, I need cubes. More than anything else. French can cash in. Always worth cashing in, I think. Not always. So the French want to do this. This is not pleasant for them, but hey, Europe's already fucked anyway. We do get 2 of these. If the game can end real fast, this could be of some value to me. But, I mean, first of all, I'm at the -5 penalty. My point tableau, although I have some high point cards, is not fantastic. Then we go here. Exhaust 2 influence, gain 2 happiness, and 2 unrest in the Middle East. We'll do this. This one goes as well. 2 happiness. The tiebreaker for these suckers, so like, there isn't a tiebreaker. So England and US, if they were both on top, they would both get full points. But then you drop down to 3rd place, like you would in anything reasonable. And add an unrest to the Middle East. That can't grow. This is the French turn. Might as well. Might get something, some points for no reason. And here. Add or remove an unrest from the Pacific. Don't care about. Add a powder keg to the Pacific. That sounds less valuable to control. Meanwhile, I would like the game to go longer, and this card is not bad for France. Each player ending with you may move 1 deployed or exhausted military to available. Well, not me. Balkans, is that where I want to be? Probably. I'm not sure. Is Mideast where these guys want to be? I only have 2 Mideast. I have 2 Africa. I think I'm going to pull out of the Middle East. Because 2 Middle East is in the air. Why do I want to do that? Well, it's not a deployed one, which means I won't lose as much. I don't know. I don't know if I have a good argument either way. Like, I'm making it so the Middle East I'm less likely to be able to bid on. But I have bigger points in Africa. I'd rather commit... No, let me stay in the Middle East. That gives me bidding power. But some risk of happiness. Not a terribly useful event. Churchill with hair. Not much, but some. Okay. Italy. Lots and lots of cards. I'm up there challenging the U.S. now. 8, 16, 22, 30, 36, 43, 14, 18, 22, 25, 32, 40. So yeah, I'm in pretty good shape. I'm going to score this. People have let me have this, even though I've kind of gotten into a leading position. What do I want? I want my happiness, right? Yeah, because I want those two self-roll markers. So Slovenia and Croatia will be independent. Keep the points showing. That triggers. I have the option to add a powder keg in the Pacific. I have a Pacific. I have to scan everybody else, see if I'm as much as anyone. So I'm going to choose not to. It probably doesn't do a hell of a lot either way. I get to pull things up. I kind of don't want to pull anything too rich up because I'm winning. Women's suffrage sounds like a great choice. And then here, add or remove unrest from the Pacific, take a deploy action and gain a happiness. Let's put this in play, I guess. I have to draw 2. Okay. When drawn, this must be the one chosen to be added to the waiting room. So, Dobruja ends up over there. This is a 7-point card with no effects, and it ends the game once it's settled, whatever it is. Move all deployed military to exhausted. That's not cool. Puts it back. We'll probably finish this up. I was thinking I would stop at some point, like when this card comes up. You know, we got to do scoring and everything. I think this is a good point to stop. Get the video loaded up. I should be getting tobacco today. I don't know. It's supposedly out for delivery. But they also sent me one, like initially it said it was going to come today. Then they sent me, it's been delayed, it'll come today. And then it's out for delivery. Like, almost immediately when I ordered it, I got the, it's been delayed. But it was due the same day. So, I don't know.